So I just found out, perusing the bill that ended the government shutdown and proposed budget plans for the subsequent fiscal year. Found out that in that document, at the very, very end, is a federal proposal to make weed criminal again, which, you know, the old adage goes, when the economy's hurting, we gotta criminalize something or another, you know, like that really has worked out so well historically. But hey, you know, Mitch McConnell's buddies in the booze sector, you know, they want people blacked out and behind the wheel at 1 morning. They want people drinking their sorrows away. They want people, you know, using history's longest standing antidepressant. You know, it gives people something to waste their salaries on and to repress the arduous nature of their existence with. And they do not want some mellow product, some mellow non-addictive product like weed take its place. Now, I'm not saying that weed is not psychologically addictive. I would say that a great number of potheads I've met throughout my years, including myself, has some level of psychological dependence on weed. I mean, I pretty much stopped smoking it because my sinusitis has made it so I can't really smoke jack shit. I had to cut out a lot of stuff because of my sinusitis. But one thing I know is that alcohol certainly doesn't agree with me. Even when I could stomach it before being on all these medications, it just tended to make me a sad sack of shit. And it tended to make me very decadent. I would continue drinking. I would want to do whatever drugs were available. It is just part and parcel to a more destructive society, a more destructive way of being. And it's unfortunate that alcohol would prevail over the interests of weed, which, you know, alcohol doesn't have any real propensity for being a medicinal substance. It's, you know, like maybe there's ethanol in certain tinctures and stuff like that, but, you know, there's no implications for its use as a medicinal substance. Whereas many people rely on weed so they don't get addicted to pharmaceuticals that, even if they do work, only work until you're addicted to them. God, what a disaster. I mean, I don't have to worry about this, you know, because I'm in Canada, but, you know, they're wiping out everything, like, you know, even the, like, you know, shitty Delta 8 products. Forget about it. Like, I don't know how you guys are gonna get high, but it's not gonna be in a good way. Whatever loopholes will be found and exploited, you know, the prophecy will fulfill. I mean, because every time weed's been illegal in the past, people have found shitty ways to, you know, contravene and to, you know, get high, and using, you know, something like synthetic cannabis that, you know, skirts the law, but somehow simulates the experience, but in a much more precarious way. You know, like, I can proudly say that I've never fucking ingested spice. The only time I've ever seen spice is when my buddy brought some back with him from the States to kind of, laugh and mock, just this package of what looked like fucking oregano that was sprayed down with fucking synthetic THC or whatever the fuck spice is. I mean, it's real unfortunate because there, like I said, weed it's not fucking without foibles. I mean, like I said, psychological dependence can happen with weed. Like I'm someone who is just a miserable sod unless he was, constantly able to smoke weed and, had a huge appetite for weed and edibles. And, like I get kind of miserable if I can't take an edible by the time 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock rolls around. But I mean, it's, far and away from the same thing as, oh, fuck, I'll splash this dude. Sorry, I'm going through big puddles and I don't want to splash poor pedestrians going by. Yeah, and, like, I fucking met a ton of people in the psych ward who were there because of weed-induced psychosis. Oh, what the fuck is this? Why leave a stop sign up at a fucking dead-end street? God damn it. Yeah, but, that is something that can be prevented by, just, like, knowing what neurodivergence you may have. Like most of these people had bipolar type 1, and if you have a psychotic an underlying psychotic disorder, you shouldn't be taking anything that is psychoactive in the way weed or psychedelics are, because it can trigger episodes of psychosis. Like, go figure. Something that would make a normal person hallucinate would make a person with an underlying psychotic disorder psychotic. Go fucking figure. I mean, but those are really the two big fucking Achilles heels that weed has. And, I do think that people don't give that enough credence, those two hiccups. But, I mean, when you weigh that against all the pros that weed can offer people, it's just, it's not even there's no basis for an argument, because, there are so many people who get relief from weed, elderly people, but, I guess this current administration does not give a fuck about elderly people. I mean, they did their fucking damnedest to back, his name, Andrew Cuomo, fucking, in the latest mayoral run in New York, because he's the closest thing to someone who would respect the fucking people within the income bracket that they wanted protected, the fucking billionaires. And Cuomo fucking just happened to kill a lot of fucking grannies, It's like Sliwa said, slapping fannies and killing grannies. By the way, Curtis Sliwa is he's a fucking G. That guy is fucking, like, all the best parts of New York fucking wrapped up in a fucking single person. And there's a lot of parts of New York that just strike me as being shitty. It's like my city, but worse. I mean, a lot of filming is done in my city because, it looks like New York, and it's cheaper to film here. Don't fucking honk at me, man. This guy's not fucking going. Come on, man. Go. Good. Don't take it out on me. But yeah, fucking, this administration fucking cut the electrical bill for a ton of old people, cut Meals on Wheels, tried to take away Social Security, pensions, didn't quite get that far before, having to fire Elon Musk for being, chronically high on, like, fucking multiple drugs in the White House. So yeah, safe to say they don't really care about the well-being of old people, and, old people are one of the demographics that we're more surprised by, how this substance that they viewed as being, like, inherently destructive because of so much government propaganda for years and years and years ended up being, the ticket to, their arthritis or, their, cancer treatments, side effects, I think, there's also some other underlying reasons why they're trying to, because it's not just THC, they're trying to drastically reduce any derivative, including the synthetic byproducts like Delta-8, as I said. They don't want people fucking spending their money on anything but liquor. And, it's historically that fucking mode of operating has proven so fucking foolproof. It's not like weed dealers didn't exist in the past, but I would be fucking fuming, if I lived under the banner of the mighty US of A, land of the free, and, you fucking were, I don't think Thomas Jefferson was proven to have smoked weed, but I know Benjamin Franklin's pipe was shown to have hash residue in it, or hemp residue, or something like that. But, hemp was, it was a big product in the days of the founding fathers, and I think that given given how this administration is clearly interested in oil as much as, if not more than previous administrations, willing to go to war with Venezuela over it, willing to cozy up to the Saudis for it, just the inhumanity has no fucking end. As long as they can get oil from it, they will fucking bandy together with just about any fucking cruel, perverted regime they can, or just invade another to get oil. And one thing that stood in staunch opposition to oil as the end-all be-all fucking fuel powering the majority of energy out there was the prospect of hemp biofuels, which I don't think there's been enough research done on extracting, testing, producing, but that I think is by design. If it wasn't for all these competing industries, fucking no one would give a fuck about people getting high. It has nothing to do with fucking saving the kids or anything like that. If that was truly the issue, then they would be fucking trying to round up vapes. They would be trying to round up fucking they'd be banning fucking alcohol products that are candy flavored that, you know, turn your fucking tongue blue or whatever, you know, all these products that appeal to children. You know, I made a video on the appeal to children fallacy in the past, and, you know, I send that video. If you ever hear those words, you know, think of the children, or we're doing it for the children, you know, really consider what proposals you're about to hear, and you know, weigh just how much honesty and dishonesty is present in said proposal. Yeah, it's fucking wild, you know, these people, oh, think of the children, think of the children. Meanwhile, fucking administration is the most soft on fucking pedophiles there has ever been, as far as I can tell. And, you know, like, I'm convinced that Bill Clinton was probably a pedophile, but, you know, his fucking deviant, perverted fucking thirst, he did a pretty good job of keeping out of the White House until he got caught with fucking Lewinsky. But, you know, Trump wanted to bring Epstein into the White House. Like, it's ridiculous. And, you know, like, he was saying that, you know, he's considering giving pardons to Ghislaine Maxwell and fucking Puff Daddy, and, like, meanwhile, these are, like, disgusting human traffickers. It's beyond upsetting, because, I mean, there's nothing more, like, universally considered repulsive than, you know, fucking children and trafficking in, you know, the desecration of innocence. It is absolutely maddening, and, you know, like, if I was an American, I would want to riot. I wouldn't want to have any of this shit. I mean, these people are sick, man. They're sick, and they're fucking twisted, and their interests, like, you know, they are all, you know, it all comes back to rules for me and not for thee. Like, you know, I get that Trump is a teetotaler, but, you know, they, like I said, they didn't mind that Elon Musk was walking around with a Hunter S. Thompson-sized fucking bag of drugs in the White House. Didn't seem to mind that. You know, they fucking tried to pin some cocaine found in the White House on Hunter Biden, because only one person has ever done cocaine in the White House, and it's got to be Hunter Biden, because we've got literally nothing else we can pin on him. What a fucking jackass. Like, I just, like, literally on the opposite side of the street, tries to pass while I'm driving right in his direction. Fucking, you know, I nearly missed smacking that guy in the nose because he was over the fucking line, and he has the gall to honk at me. Fucking hell, man. People are fucking retards when it comes to driving in the city. My God. And I'm not the best driver in the world, but, like, holy shit. It fucking absolutely, it's absolutely bewildering, fucking, some of the stuff I see here. But, yeah, I mean, I've still got fucking BC, but I've still got fucking edibles. You know, I hate a lot of, the regulations surrounding cannabis in my country. You know, like, they got a cap on edibles at 10 milligrams, you know, and, like, I need at least 10 milligrams if I want to, you know, start feeling cozy, if I want to start getting some pain relief. You know, luckily they don't really care too much about organizations that sell higher doses and that sell, you know, mushrooms or LSD or whatever. We don't really care that much because, you know, we've got severe drug problems with, you know, drugs that are much more problematic and that have, almost zero positive reflection on our economy. So, like, I at the end of the day, I'm good, but, I gotta say, I feel for you guys, man, and, I'm concerned because, the tariffs are starting to hit us pretty hard, but, it's gotta be way harder for fucking you guys, and, we're getting pretty sick of fucking negotiating, I've been kind of putting the expectation on my prime minister to fucking get deals done with countries that are agreeable and aren't gonna fucking just, play fucking ridiculous clown show games every time fucking something else comes out about the Epstein files and they need to blow up the media with stuff that's, meant to deviate from the realities that are creeping into fucking, every home that has internet access, because, if you're not convinced that fucking Trump was fucking underage people and potentially trafficking them with Epstein by now, then I don't know what to do for you, but, you guys are also in a fucking terrible recession, and it sounds like Trump's willing to talk about tariffs again, but, he's probably just gonna bait Carney to the room, fucking whisper some sweet nothings, make another joke about fucking annexing our country or having us surrender our sovereignty, so we don't have to spend billions of dollars on this ridiculous fucking, golden fucking dome defense system, going back to the Reagan era fucking Star Wars bullshit, which is proven in the past to be a waste of money and, just a slippery slope to fucking, spending ridiculous amounts of money on, ensuring there's Western supremacy over the fucking cosmos, more so like low orbit or, satellite orbit or whatever, because it's dangerous to fucking start building missile systems in space, because, this debate's been had fucking ages ago with Star Wars, but, what happens is, a missile can be launched from space and hit any given country, and they won't be able to trace it back, distinctly to one country or another, and so this can lead to global calamity. Like, people are forgetting that we fucking are sitting on, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of nuclear weapons worldwide, that, all it takes is one being launched for, seppuku style, okay, we'll cut off all your heads and then you can cut off ours fucking while you're bleeding out, just absolute global suicide. Like, I just watched this movie, Catherine Bigelow, that kind of pissed me off, actually, to be honest, especially just with the insanely anticlimactic ending. Pissed me off so bad I had to watch a real movie that that demonstrated just how devastating nuclear war could be. And of course, that movie I've made a video on. It's called Threads, and because House of Dynamite is one rogue missile bound for Chicago is coming out of the Pacific Ocean, I think, thought to be from the North Koreans, but never fully never with certainty find out who launched it. just that it is going to spark a huge retaliation from the states, and they're going to just fucking bomb every potential culprit into the Stone Age with it, or as a result of it. But the movie does this irritating thing where where the missile's about to hit, and then it jumps back in time to, jumps back in time 20 minutes to show you what's happening, and this other person who you're hearing kind of on the sidelines of the plot jumps into their day, back 20 minutes to what led up to them experiencing, their general, or what are they called, GBIs, their which are basically the current defense system in place for taking down a nuke, which, if that is the case, is fairly pathetic, because it's just like two missiles that are trying to throw the one nuke off of track, and the two fail to do so, and they don't want to use any more in case the first one is just sort of a red herring that is meant to have the states throw everything they have at it, and then so when the real salvo of nukes comes, they have nothing to defend with. But I think that movie, like most Catherine Bigelow films that have come out over the past 20 years, is probably heavily funded by the Department of Homeland Security and the American military, because it seems like a big advertisement for the Golden Dome defense system. Because it's like, oh, well, we can't fucking knock this one missile off course with our current $50 billion system. Like, what the hell are we gonna do? Like, they didn't scream, we need this defense system, but it was basically implicit, if there were no other messages to take away from that movie other than, nuclear war is a disastrous thing to even begin to engage in. We need a better defense system than what's currently in place, and I think that's it's ridiculous. I think you can build more than one defense system that is simply ground-to-air missiles, without fucking, going into the reaches of space to do so. I think, maybe what we should focus on, considering that, Russia is no longer a major superpower, and, China has, they peacock a lot, they puff, they chest puff a lot, but, they've shown that on the battlefield they're pretty fucking weak fighters and don't really know what they're doing. Doesn't mean their warheads aren't as fucking, effective as the next country, major superpowers' warheads, but, we need to kind of focus on dismantling these, weapons of mass destruction, and, working on having some degree of trust, because, it's like the movie title says, it's like we're living in a house of dynamite, It just takes someone lighting the wick and the whole thing goes down, and that is, like a potential mass extinction event. I was so disappointed by the movie that I watched Threads again right after, and I am not even kidding, in the lead up to the what do you call it, there's so many similar acronyms, electromagnetic pulse, EMP, the EMP missiles being fired and knocking out all the electronics, and then, the fucking 80 megaton fucking salvo that hits the UK, and followed by another 400 megatons. I was tearing up fucking watching that, just like, oh my god, like, we can doom not only our species, but all life on this planet. We can doom it just like that. Like, how can we fucking do this to ourselves? You know, like, Oppenheimer fucking saw it with the fucking first blast. You know, he said, he quoted the Hindu texts, I become the destroyer of worlds. And, he spent his dying days trying to, rally countries to move against the stockpiling of warheads. And, like the movie shows, that, was likely what got them to nail him to the cross, based on, the fucking classic trick of, oh, you did socialism back in the day, so there goes your military clearance, and, say hello to potential fucking time in a military jail. I think they just revoked his clearance and shamed his name, but the fucking Cold War is over. What are we doing? We're just dooming our species. But I'm speaking though as a Canadian. My country doesn't have nuclear weapons. And I don't think that makes me feel naked at all. Because like I said, if a nuclear exchange was ever to happen, we're all fucked. We're all fucked. It doesn't matter if you're armed or if you're not. Those who are armed will fuck every port of call, every industrial center, any population center, all of them, allied or otherwise, are going to be blown into oblivion. It's sad, but I mean, it's fucking, it's a reality, man. And to think that we have, the technology, the know-how, and everything to fucking dismantle these weapons and do away with them, and we don't have any real reasons to continue hoarding them. Maybe Putin would be reticent to give his up, because, if the Ukraine war doesn't go in his favor, he'll want something to, be able to bluff with, because he ain't got much now. The Russian army's looking pretty pitiful at this point. Yeah, it's fucking, we need to mature as a fucking species, right? I think we need to stop focusing on banning the fucking shit that gives us a fucking fairly harmless buzz, and we need to focus on fucking banning the types of smokes that will absolutely devastate us as a species, regardless of who you are, what your allegiances are to. It doesn't matter. Fucking nuclear Armageddon does not discriminate. It will vaporize fucking literally all of us. And it's not controversial to say so. I think that is something that people on all sides of the fucking aisles will agree with. So, maybe that's something fucking humanity can work on together, but will that ever happen? I highly doubt it. It doesn't matter if it's a common goal. It doesn't matter if we're fucking aware of the devastating ramifications of an exchange. None of that fucking matters, because we're never gonna fucking agree to work together on anything, because that, like, just agreeing to work together is like some sort of concession, you know? Like, look at the fucking peace talks that are happening right now with Ukraine, you know? Like it's all a joke, you know? It's all just a fucking cover for, you know, people to use it as an excuse to not benefit the greater good, but to line their pockets. Like, you know, a peace deal where Ukraine has to fucking give 50 to 60% of their annual profits to the states, and acquiesce like numerous fucking portions of their country to the Russians. Like, that is not a peace deal. That is not a deal made with the interests of anyone but Putin and fucking Trump in mind. So to think that, you know, we would collaborate over, you know, the prevention of nuclear Armageddon, I guess, is a bit of wishful thinking on my part. Hate to say so, but yeah, I guess if you can, stockpile your weed before it's fucking too late. I think it's November of next year where weed is going to be illegal on a federal level, you know, including CBD and all that stuff. So enjoy it while you can before you'll be, you know, be smoking spice or whatever you can get your hands on. It's a shame, but what can I do? I'm not a fucking American. Sorry to say. Anyways, that's it for today.